Otachan, Voracious versus Ruinous. What are the differences? What are the similarities? And what do you get when you kill each one? That's what we're going over today. Alright, we're going to make this breakdown of Otachan really quick. We're going to go over both forms, Voracious versus Ruinous, their passives, abilities, and rewards. How does each one spawn? Let's keep it simple. If you're in a game with no kills, you're not dealing a lot of damage, and there's not a lot of fighting, you're probably going to get the Voracious Otachan. If, however, you're in a game where there's lots of kills, you're dealing lots of damage, and there's lots of fighting, you're probably going to get the Ruinous Otachan. If you hit tab and look at the top of the scoreboard, it'll show you which Otachan is leaning towards spawning. The side of the map that the Otachan spawns on is just dictated by which side has seen more champion action. I've seen people think that only one form can spawn on one side. Either Otachan can spawn on either side of the map, it's just dictated by which side has seen more champion action. So how do we take it? Let's go over the similarities. They both share the same passive, Frail and Unworthy. That's where Otachan applies stacks with his attacks and abilities, each stack reducing the target's armor and MR by 1 per stack up to a max of 50. That's flat reduction, not a percentage. Their basic attack and bolt ability are also both the same. The bolt ability is where he fires those waves of dark energy in a target direction. Regardless of which form spawns, both the attack and ability deal the same amount of damage. The main differences are in that longer cooldown ability that each Otachan has. The Voracious one is when he summons a dark aura around him, dealing damage to everyone that's in that melee range of him and healing himself for a percentage of the post-mitigation damage. Each drain tick applies 3 stacks of his passive. The Ruinous ability is where he summons those 8 constricting rings that go from outward in, each ring applying 5 stacks of his passive. So there's a world where if you get hit by each ring, you're going to have your armor and MR reduced by 40 like that. So what are the rewards and what do we get when we take it? For the Voracious one, you get False Life. That's the one that grants you a 2.5 minute temporary GA. Enemy kills on you won't reward full gold, and when slain you go through Withdraw. That's where you get sent back to your fountain over a temporary stasis. The most important thing to note is that kill effects do not trigger. Jinx doesn't get excited, Magi stacks don't reset. It's very important for trying to utilize the Voracious buff. Also, you get a permanent buff for the rest of the game, where you get 40 bonus gold on all future champion takedowns. The Ruinous buff, Crown of Carnage, is where you get 25% increased effects from all epic monster buffs, Dragon, Baron, Grubs. You also get an instant 6 stacks of Bloody Petals. Also, 6 normal Blood Roses and 6 large Blood Roses will spawn in the pit after Otachan is slain that can be taken by anyone, regardless of which team killed the Otachan. So, if you take Otachan, but your entire team gets wiped and someone can clean up the roses, they're going to get a big burst of XP and Adaptive Force. So we went through the slideshow, we know what they both do and the rewards we get. Now let's see how we take each one. For the Voracious Otachan form, obviously it's going to have the same attack and bolt ability as the Ruinous one, so we're going to want to dodge that bolt ability. And this is the one that's going to spawn that dark aura around him that drains the closest targets to him, and it's going to heal him. So when we're taking it, we're going to want to make sure that we don't stand near it. And here I'm going to show you an example of me dodging it and then also standing in it so you can see how much damage it deals, how many stacks of his passive it applies, and how much it heals the Otachan for. For Ruinous Otachan, it's going to have that same basic attack and bolt ability that you're going to want to dodge. For me, this one is easier to take as a melee champ because as long as I'm in complete melee range of the Otachan, I'm not going to get hit by those outward rings that come into me. This one is a little bit more scary if you're a range champ because if you're not timing the ability in your head, I think it's like 7.5 or 8 second cooldown, you can get hit by those rings when you're not expecting it, and you're going to have your armor and MR reduced by quite a bit. You're either going to have to stand really close to it as a range champ, or as the ability happens, stand outside of the ring so you don't get hit at all. Also, you're going to get the 6 stacks of Bloody Petals like we talked about, and all the Blood Roses are going to spawn. So if you're a champ with a lot of attack speed, make sure you help your low attack speed champions take these, please. Alright guys, that's the Otachan breakdown. Hopefully you can use this in your solo queue games. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.